Welcome back to Out of the Rough Chamber Edition. I'm here with Michael Crain. Michael Crain with Smart Business Evolution. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, Michael, you're a consultant for businesses. And, one of the first things we want to talk about with the chamber, with so many businesses in the chamber, is a lot of people are seeking advice for you. What's the first thing they ask you for when it comes to help?
Well, normally they just say, I need help. They don't even know where to turn. And so the first thing that we do is take a look at their strategy. A lot of times, and I've heard you say this before, a lot of people are working in their business, they're not working on their business. And you get in there really quickly, you can see you're in such a panic mode. You're not really paying attention to what's really going on all around you. And we get a lot of panic calls. But strategy is the first place we go. But you know what I'm finding, Fred? A lot of times it just takes some minor refinements in what you're currently doing, and you'll be surprised at what you can end up producing. I give you a story. This really happened not too long ago. A gentleman calls me, he has 17 dry cleaner stores.
Wow, quite a business.
Yeah, he's got a good sized business, but he's struggling. And it's hard for him to make payroll, so he's saying, hey, I need some help. And so we go in and we take a look, and you know what? The clothes are crisp and clean. They get customers in and out in about 3 minutes, so that looks good. But the problem is in the delivery. Their interaction with the customer. While they get customers in and out in less than 3 minutes and they're clean clothes, but it's rushed. It feels rushed. There's no customer service. Contrast that to another dry cleaner who basically has the same style of business, get customers in and out, make sure it's crisp and clean, but they pay attention to customer service. For example, they train their staff on building relationships. As we've talked about, revenue follows relationships, so does advocacy. And so they teach their employees little tricks about how to, I shouldn't say tricks, but they teach them a method to develop relationships. For example, he puts in your license plate number in his computer with a little history.
When you pull up to the dry cleaner, there's always a space in front of the dry cleaner.
Right. And so what they do is they punch in your license. They say it's Mr. Arnold. So when you walk in, what do you get? A friendly greeting with your name. See, that small adjustment can produce big results.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge. And when it comes to strategy, Ed, we talked in the previous session about your strategy with the consumer and your strategy.
Buying behavior. Yeah.
Exactly, with the merchants. And so that gets down to sometimes a business, do they have several strategies within a strategy? How do they break that down? Because there's marketing, customer service, accounting. Yeah. There's so many things a business owner has to deal with.
Well, that is very true, and what we tend to do is try to put it in 3 different silos to work with. First, we have daily operations, what you have to do to function every single day. Then we move into marketing, which I know the two of you are just fantastic at. And then you have your assets, your growth, your protection, your 401ks, your employee programs, those type of things. So we try to separate it into 3 so we can really just dive into each and every one of them and go a little bit deeper.
On each segment. And I love that. And I think it's important. And sometimes it's just a small tweak to your business because, of course, you're always working, especially if you're one of the producers of the product. A lot of people, they start their own business. They're very good. They're the top salesperson. They're the top engineer. They're the top at their business. And they know how to do that task, but they don't know how to run a business.
You see that a lot. Especially when it comes to salespeople, people who are very dynamic when it comes to building relationships with clients. They're great at that. But the daily operations, normally not so good.
So, Michael, question. What if they have a good strategy, the business owner has a good strategy, but they're still struggling in their business?
Well, then the next 2 spots that we go take a look at is the activity. It's one thing to know what you're supposed to be doing. You can have a well-drafted plan, but if you're not executing that plan on a daily basis, that's where we're going to go to. Also, attitude. It's one thing if you have a good strategy, you're following the right activity, but you're doing it with a bad attitude, you're going to see lack of results. And Ed, there's a lot of people in your particular industry that have seen better days.
And the mortgage industry has seen better days.
Right. But take a great example of you. When you go out there, you still produce a great personality. You're still out there shaking hands. You're still developing relationships. And it's not always easy, but that's what it takes to succeed today.
I used to say the United States Air Force, to fly multi-million-dollar aircraft, they wanted 3 things. Do you have the ability to learn? And do you have a good attitude? And are you motivated? Also, that's it.
Yeah.
And so if you wake up every day, like Ed, I don't think I've ever seen Ed without a great attitude. Ed he represents 25 scorecard at its best. Yeah. Now, I don't know how he is in the back office, doing accounting.
Ask my wife.
Yes, ask the boss. But yeah, the way you run your business when it comes to networking is second to none. That's attitude we talked about.
Absolutely.
It's always a good day.
Yes. Any final advice before we jump to a quick break? Because after the break, we want to talk about your book.
Okay. No, I just encourage every business owner, if you're beginning to struggle, take a look first at your strategy. Dive in there and take a look. I'm not talking about the business plan, that 3-ring binder. I'm talking about your daily operation strategy. Take a look at your activity. How are you doing? Contrast what you say that you're all about, what you say your plan is, to what you're actually doing. And finally, take a look at your attitude to make sure it's one worthwhile.
Yes, people want to be around positive people. We're going to jump to a quick break, but when we come back, we have Michael Crain in The Truth About Great Customer Service.